My name is Claire Hensley, I'm 27 years old, and I swear on everything. I love that this story is real. It happened to me, and I still don't know if I survived it or if I'm still inside it. People think haunted houses are about creaky stairs and cold drafts, but what I walked into on Birch Lane was a trap built out of memory and malice. I'd grown up in a small New Hampshire town, the kind where everyone knows the history of every family, but I'd been away for almost a decade. The only reason I came back was because my Aunt Margaret died suddenly and left me her old Victorian house. The will was written oddly, "Keep the house and the house will keep you." But I figured it was her quirky way of saying don't sell. I didn't want to live there. I just wanted to clear it out and put it on the market, but the first time I unlocked that warped front door, something in the air shifted like the house inhaled. Dust motes hung in the sunlight like frozen ash, and every floorboard groaned in a way that seemed to answer my steps. There were family photos everywhere, not just of my aunt, but of me as a child. Photos I never posed for. In one of them, I was standing in the upstairs hallway wearing a dress I didn't own, holding a silver hand mirror. That hallway was exactly as I remembered it from visiting when I was little, narrow with peeling wallpaper patterned like faded roses, but I didn't recall ever being photographed there. I told myself it was some trick of the angle, that the girl in the photo just looked like me. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling she was watching me. As I worked my way through the house on the second night, while I was in the kitchen boxing up dishes, I heard footsteps on the floor above me, slow, deliberate pacing from one side of the hallway to the other. I called out, thinking maybe a neighbor had come by, but there was no answer. The steps stopped, then softly a woman's voice drifted down the stairs, so faint I thought it was my imagination. "Keep the house and the house will keep you." My phone slid out of my pocket and hit the floor, and in that brief moment, I caught a reflection in the dark glass, the same girl from the photograph standing at the top of the stairs, smiling faintly as if she'd been waiting for me to hear her. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. This story is written and edited by Dark Life Side Diaries. I froze in the kitchen doorway, every muscle locked, my gaze fixed on the top of the stairs where that faint outline had been, but in the blink it took to lift my eyes from the phone's reflection, she was gone. My heartbeat thudded in my ears loud enough to drown out the soft creak of the old wood, and for a long moment I told myself I'd imagined it, that it was a trick of my nerves combined with the dim light and my aunt's eerie decor. But the air in the house felt heavier now, as though something had shifted its attention fully toward me. I picked up my phone, half expecting the screen to be shattered, but it was perfectly fine except for the photo in the gallery that hadn't been there before. It showed the same upstairs hallway, the same faded rose wallpaper, except in this shot, the mirror in the girl's hand reflected me standing exactly where I was right now, in the kitchen, even though no one had been there to take it. I deleted it immediately, my fingers trembling, but the unease didn't fade. The rest of that night, I stayed downstairs, not daring to set foot on the staircase, listening to the occasional faint tap above me, like someone was dragging their fingertips along the wall. The next morning, daylight softened the edges of my fear, and I convinced myself it had all been some mix of grief for my aunt and exhaustion from the long days of cleaning. I decided to tackle the upstairs anyway, determined not to be bullied by shadows. The first bedroom was neat but still, with yellow lace curtains and a quilt folded neatly at the foot of the bed. On the dresser sat the same silver hand mirror from the photograph, its ornate handle worn smooth from years of use. I picked it up, the cool metal biting into my palm, and for a moment the glass didn't reflect the room behind me, but another place entirely, a darker hallway lit by a single swaying bulb, and somewhere far off the sound of crying. I set the mirror down so fast it clattered against the wind, my chest tightening with the same instinct you get when you realize you're being followed. In the second bedroom, the one that had been mine during childhood visits, I found something worse. The walls were bare except for a long crack in the plaster, shaped almost like a figure with outstretched arms, and someone had scrawled words along the floorboard in what looked like black charcoal, "She wants you back." That night the voice came again, closer, almost beside my ear, as I lay in bed. "Keep the house, Claire, and the house will keep you." This time I answered, whispering into the dark, "What do you want?" The silence stretched, and then came the sound of footsteps starting at the far end of the hallway, moving toward my bedroom door, slow and patient, like they had all the time in the world. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the edge of the bed in my childhood room, staring at the door, listening to the hallway floorboards groan at irregular intervals, like someone shifting their weight just beyond sight. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the girl from the photographs, her faint smile, the mirror in her hand, the way her eyes didn't quite line up with human warmth. By dawn, I decided I'd had enough I'd grab my things, lock the place up, and never come back, but when I tried to leave, the front door wouldn't budge. The deadbolt turned, the knob spun freely, yet the door itself felt fused to the frame as if welded shut. I thought maybe I was imagining it, so I tried the back door, same thing. Every window I tested was painted shut or wouldn't open more than an inch. Panic built in my chest as I realized the house wasn't just haunted in the storybook sense. It was keeping me inside. Around noon, I heard a soft scrape from upstairs, like furniture being dragged across the floor. I followed the sound to the guest room, where the silver hand mirror now sat upright on the bed, reflecting not me but the front hallway downstairs. I watched as the reflection's front door opened slowly and something stepped inside, something that moved like a person but seemed stretched in all the wrong ways, its limbs bending subtly backward, its head tilting too far to the side. I stumbled back, knocking the mirror over, but when I looked at the hallway for real, it was empty. That evening, the house seemed to breathe heavier, every wall groaning in time with my own anxious heartbeat. I thought I could hear whispers seeping from behind the wallpaper, dozens of voices speaking at once, their words just beyond comprehension. Except for one phrase: "She wants you back." I locked myself in the bedroom, stuffing a chair under the doorknob. But around midnight, the mirror appeared again, leaning against the wall at the foot of my bed. This time the reflection wasn't a hallway or some twisted figure. It was me, older, pale, standing beside the girl, both of us smiling. The sight made my stomach drop because in the reflection's background, the bed I was sitting on was empty, as if I'd already gone with them. The basement door stood ajar when I came down the stairs that final morning, though. I had left it bolted the night before. A faint draft whispered up from the darkness below, carrying with it that familiar scent of dust and something older, sweeter, like rotting flowers. I told myself I wouldn't go down there, that I'd pack my things and leave before the sun dipped low again, but the whispering started before I could even grab my suitcase, my name over and over in a dozen different voices, some mine, some my aunt's, some I didn't recognize, coaxing, pleading, commanding. I gripped the handrail and descended the wood, groaning under my weight. The deeper I went, the colder the air became, until it felt like walking into a winter cellar with no heat at the bottom. My phone's flashlight swept across stone walls blackened with soot, and in the center of the room stood a tall mirror, not the small silver one from upstairs, but a full-length monstrosity in a carved wooden frame, its surface covered by a moth-eaten sheet. The voices hushed as I approached, replaced by a low hum vibrating through the floor. Against every instinct screaming in my head, I pulled the sheet away. My reflection looked back at me, but behind it stood the girl from the photographs, her hands resting lightly on my shoulders. Her mouth didn't move, yet her voice filled the basement. "You've come home." The glass rippled like water and her fingers tightened. My reflection began to smile, wide, unnatural teeth too sharp, while I stood frozen, watching my own eyes glow faintly gold. The pull was physical now, like an undertow dragging me forward. I fought it, digging my nails into the wooden frame, but something cold and strong wrapped around my ankles and yanked. The last thing I saw before being swallowed by the glass was the basement, emptying, the house above quieting, and my reflection, now completely hers, turning away from the mirror and walking up the stairs to answer the front door. If you ever inherit a house on Birch Lane, burn the deed before you step inside. Don't keep the house. Don't let the house keep you. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, and share to hear more real horror stories like this, written and edited by Dark Life Side Diaries.